A lot of things make it harder at it.
If you are, oh, this is a pretty perfect.
Ready to go. Start finishing this.
11:02.
What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? Who do we have on here?
Nita and Jen.
You did.
Esther.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing? So, all right, so there's no video today. I wanted to talk to you guys about just the basic aspect of the real estate business and talk about some of the growth that some of you guys are having, maybe some of the constraints you guys are having, and some of the actions that you can do to kind of get past any of the constraints that you have. So if you have any specific questions or challenges, put them in the chat and Sandy will read them. But I'm going to go through a few things to try and help you guys out, because I feel like the market that we're going into, now I've said this probably 10 times in my real estate career, being in the business for 20 years or more, that, you know, it seems that real estate could be very easy when it's not. It's simple, it's just not easy. And a lot of what needs to happen in real estate to be successful is a whole bunch of actions. A whole bunch of actions that don't have any return on investment immediately. And that's usually where people fall off and they will fail in their business, because they're expecting more of a return than what their actions are dictating. Let me know if that makes sense. And so I want to make sure that you guys are doing the actions that you need to do right now to get the results that you need to have in the next 3 to 6 months. We have about a little less than 6 months before the end of the year. And there's no reason why you guys can't get a 2, 3, 4 deals in before the end of the year. Like, no reason. But it all centers around a few different things. A lot of people don't have goals because they don't know what goals they want. And I heard this quote this morning. That wasn't a specific quote, but it's like, most of us don't know what we really want, which makes it very difficult to create goals. And then when we create goals, center the actions around them. And one of the strategies that is probably the most successful strategy that agents do, it's the number one thing that agents, when they first get into the business, they don't want to do. And that's reaching out and talking to the people that they already know. And I think, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, if anybody wants to chime in, please feel free to give me your thoughts. I feel like agents that are newer in the business or that have transitioned from another place to this place, they have a weird perception of their sphere of influence, and they're afraid to talk to the people that they know, because the people they know they haven't done any business. So there's a fear around that. So this fear that I'm going to try to talk and play this game of where I'm a real estate agent, but yet they're never going to use me because I've never sold a house. And that's not true. It's interestingly enough not true, because I've proven this over time, is that 90% of all business is done by the people you know. People will give you a shot, people will give you a chance, but they have to see your energy, your knowledge, and your work ethic on the other end. And the way you can really give that to people, perception, is through social media. Social media is probably the most underutilized tool for real estate agents right now in the business, because I was just talking to somebody that I was trying to bring on as a recruit, and we were talking about perception versus reality. And at the end of the day, your people, let's say you have an Aunt Betty in Texas, and Aunt Betty knows you just became a real estate agent, but Aunt Betty, you know, you might think Aunt Betty can't help you because she's in Texas, but at the end of the day, you really don't know who Aunt Betty knows. You may know some of the people that Aunt Betty knows because she's your aunt. But at the end of the day, you don't know everybody that Aunt Betty knows. She's older than you. She's probably lived in different places, and she knows a lot of people. keeping up that relationship and having conversations with Aunt Betty through physical phone calls and social media is going to give you so much power. Because when people see you post things on social media, post that you're doing an open house, post that your company just sold this, like we, saying we as in the office, just sold a $5.9 million listing in Brentwood. We just did this, all this action and all this stuff that you do on social media. People are gonna see that, they're like, oh my God, that's really cool, you're crushing it. And then when you call Aunt Betty, you say, hey, I know you live in Texas, but I come across real estate deals every now and then that are amazing deals. And I would love that if you ever hear of somebody that would be interested in an amazing deal in real estate, that you would just connect them with me. It's that easy. And whether you believe me or not, that has a tremendous amount of power. The problem I have is that I say these things and people just don't believe me, or they think it's going to be different for them. And there's nothing different about your situation than anybody else's. And that is where a lot of agents will fall into a hole. They'll think they're special. They'll think they're different. They'll think their situation is more difficult or harder than anybody else's situation that's out there, and that's not going to work for them. I don't have a good sphere of influence. I don't know a lot of people. None of those things are true. But when you tell yourself things, you're going to believe them. So when you tell yourself, I don't know how to do this, I'm not sure how that works, they're not going to like me, blah, blah, you're absolutely correct. But then if you tell yourself the opposite things, those things will be true as well. I am strong, I am smart, I am good, they're going to like me. I'm going to win because I'm never going to quit. Like if you start telling your things, the positive things and all of these things, and you switch the action, because not doing anything is an action as well. Doing something that is positive for you and your business is also an action. And so if you're taking actions every day to talk to people, 10 people a day, having conversations, no matter where they live, I don't care if they live in Dubai. I actually know one of the top Keller Williams agents in Dubai. My wife was on a panel with her. Like if you have somebody that wants to sell something in Dubai, like let me connect you and then you can call your person in Dubai. So I literally had an agent tell me this. I'm not making this up. Agent came to me and said, I know a guy in Dubai who's a millionaire. I'm like, that's fantastic. I have a connection out there where you can basically help him buy some properties and, get a referral check. It's the easiest check to get. This person recently left the office because he couldn't afford it. He said he couldn't afford it. He couldn't afford $99 a month to run his own business, which is odd. And all he had to do is call his people in Dubai and say, hey, would you be interested in a massive deal if I could find it for you out there in Dubai? I have a really great connection to one of the #1 agents in the area. I would love you to connect you with them so they can find you a deal. Would you be interested in that? Because Airbnb is becoming huge in Dubai. Would you be interested? First of all, would they? If they say no, they're really not interested. But and he said he knew multiple people out there, but he never took the time to make the phone call. So, I see everybody on here, and what I'll do after I get off the phone call is I'm going to reach out and I'm going to see how many people you guys have in your database. The database is the most important integral part of your business. I don't know one successful agent that has nobody in their database. So if you have nobody in your database, that's step one. You got to get people in your database. And then you have to start having real conversations with people. And I'm going to tell you how the conversations go. I'm actually going to improvise a conversation. Actually, maybe I'll use Sandy as a guinea pig here. So I'm going to call Sandy as if she is a friend, just somebody I know, maybe from school or whatever, from school. I'm going to let her, because we just literally did this right now. I'm going to let her make up whatever story she wants to make up. And I'm just going to call her. We know each other. We're a friend from school or whatever. And I'm going to show you how the conversation goes. It's super easy. Ready? Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Sandy.
Hi, yes, this is Sandy.
Sandy, this is Frank Bernardo. I don't know if you remember me,
Oh,
but
Frank, of course I remember you. We went to school together.
that's right. How are you?
I'm good. Gosh, how are you? It's been so long.
It has been so long. I was going through my phone book and I came across your name and I realized that we had not spoken in a really long time. And I just want to apologize because that's 100% my fault. And I just thought it would be really amazing to connect with you again.
Oh, that's so nice of you. I appreciate you thinking of me. And of course, I've been wanting to reach out to you as well.
That's awesome. So, like, tell me about yourself. Like, what are you doing? Where are you at? Family, give it all to me.
So I actually just got engaged.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're gonna, we're trying to get the families together, but we don't really know where we want to live. I live in one area, my fiance lives in another area. We're kind of looking, I don't know, we're trying to figure that
Oh my God, is it like a long distance thing? Like, how did you guys meet?
out. We met on Hinge.
What's Hinge? I'm sorry, I'm old
Oh,
and
Hinge.
I don't know what it
We
is.
met online.
Oh, okay, that's really cool. Like, you have to tell me more. But so tell me about him. Tell me like what.
He's great. He's in finance. He's 6'2". He's fantastic.
Wow, that's incredible. And so where do you live now? Are you still in the same area where we went to school together?
Yeah, I'm still in that area. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, you know the area. It's a bit more small town. But we're kind of looking, we're looking to move.
That's
We're
awesome.
not sure yet.
That's awesome. So like, what do you do?
I am in psychology.
Oh my gosh, psychology. Like,
Yeah.
so you have an MA or you have a
Well, I'm working on
doctorate?
my master's.
Master's.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. Is that something you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice, nice.
So how are you? What have you been up to?
I'm just in Los Angeles. I'm doing real estate. I've been doing real estate for a couple of years now, and it's something that's really a lot of fun. Do you know anybody else that's in real estate in the LA area like I am?
No, I don't know. Actually, no. Actually, not at all. So what do you like about real estate? How's that?
You know what? It's kind of like my own business. I get to do my own thing. I'm an independent contractor and I get to help a ton of people. I'm constantly always on the phone talking to people about, where they want to move, what they want to do, and, helping people. Getting people their first home is probably something that's really important to me because like, it's probably one of the biggest financial things that people do. And it just gives me so much satisfaction to help people, when it comes to things like that.
Okay, so do you work with a lot of first-time home buyers?
I do. Like 30% of the market is first-time home buyers, and anybody that owns a house, one of the things, like the second thing I love to do is help people become investors. Because a lot of people own homes, they have equity, they don't know they have equity, and I help them, buy an investment property, whether it's an Airbnb or whether it's something, create a little bit of passive income to kind of support their, retirement plans. Do you own your house now or do you rent?
No, I'm still renting, but again, I'm getting married and my family, they're gonna help me with the down payment on the house. So, I mean, it's perfect timing that you called me.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I would love to help you. That would be amazing. And you know what? A lot of people do get their first down payment from, friends and family. So that's actually exactly how it works. Where's your fiance live?
So it's in Chicago.
Oh, okay. And did you plan on moving out there? Is he moving
No,
out?
God, no. No, we're gonna move somewhere in LA, but
Okay.
I'd like to be, closer to either mid-city or somewhere a bit more central.
I could totally help you out with that. So like, I don't want this to turn into a business call, but you let me know what your time frame is and, we can pick up a second call to where we can kind of figure all that stuff out.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much.
So like, what is your time frame?
Well, hopefully within the next year or so, we would like to at least, but by the end of the year, we start, I want to see what I can afford. Let's start there. Let's see what I can afford.
Absolutely.
And
We'll
then
talk
maybe,
about that.
yeah, start looking at different areas. I don't know what you would suggest. He's new to the area. He doesn't know anything about California.
Okay, well, I would love to get both of you together and have this conversation like as a team. But I mean, what we should do is we should get coffee sometime. When's a good time for you to get coffee? We can sit down and we can just catch up about old times and everything. Otherwise, I think we're probably gonna be on the phone for hours.
Oh, no, that sounds good. Yeah. Are you free this week?
Absolutely. How's Friday?
Sounds great.
And that's it.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
What I liked is that you let me do the talking. So I feel like a lot of people are scared that you're gonna start cold calling or talk to your sphere of influence and bore them with, I'm in real estate, I'm doing this, or come across as too pushy.
Yeah.
But you let me do the talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and so again, Sandy and I didn't preempt this at all, but the goal is that if you felt at one time she was talking too much and I wasn't talking enough. I was getting it to the point to where it did become a little awkward to where she had to ask me a question about myself. Because at some point, if you keep asking questions about them and asking and interested in them and this and that and la la la, it'll be either awkward enough to where they're gonna get off the phone with you or they're going to ask you a question about yourself. I did not bring up real estate. They brought up real estate first. And that is really the key. So the key and the secret to connecting with your database, talking to people, cold calling, whatever it is that your job is not to find a real estate lead. That is not your job. She just told me that. Like she could have said she's no interested in buying or selling. And if she would have said that, I would have said, that's great. I still would have asked her for coffee. Because my job isn't to get a lead from her. My job is to create an advocate through her. So she tells people that I don't know about me. And if I can do that, I create an advocate, we go to coffee and we connect and we're really good friends and she's known us forever. And then I follow up again in a month and I follow up again and again and again. Then when somebody does have a real estate need, Sandy's gonna be like, oh my God, my friend Frank is amazing and you should probably call him. That's not made up. That's literally what happens. If I don't know if Tracy's on here, Tracy can tell me that happens to her all the time. Because when it comes to follow-up and having conversations with people, she is a beast. More so than anybody I could even talk to you about in real estate. And she has people all the time saying, hey, if you're gonna buy or sell, you should talk to Tracy. It's not about the person you're calling. So if it makes it easier for you, take off the table that you're calling that person to get a deal. Because I think that's what stifles everybody, to make them feel like, oh my God, I don't want to call this person because it's gonna feel like a sale. I don't want to be sold. I don't want to sell anybody. So don't. Your job is to manage relationships. How many, if your relationships, everybody you know in your database, if it was a garden, how many dead flowers would you have? Because you calling them and cultivating and talking, that's the water and the soil that you're having these conversations with. And every time you have a conversation with them, you're watering it, putting soil around those flowers and those plants. And if you're not, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to die. And that's what you have. You have all of these dead relationships in your database. And the biggest problem you have is you have people that are your family or your friends, and they're like, oh, they know I do this. Do they? Do they know? Or do they care? Because what happens, and I've seen this happen all the time, is that somebody gets a deal and it goes to somebody else because you thought that that relationship was different than what it actually is. Misjudging the relationship happens all the time. I was talking to an agent in Bakersfield that was explaining to me, it was a team meeting and I said, hey, they use somebody as an example. I said, who's your best friend? When's the last time you talked to your best friend? And he's like, 6 months ago. I'm like, really? Your best friend is somebody you haven't talked to in 6 months. So, and then he said that person used another real estate agent. So that's not your best friend. Your best friend should use you. You misjudged the relationship. And that's really the secret and the key around the entire thing, is that you have to understand what the relationship is. The way you manage the relationship is you have to over communicate and talk to people more than what you feel comfortable with. That's really the secret. So when you look at your database, so the easy way to do this is you start at A in your database and you just call everybody. If you want to be the most productive and fix your database as quickly as possible, go to the person you haven't spoken to in the longest. Go through your entire database, figure out who's the last person you spoke to, how long it's been 5 years you called them. And you saw that the conversation I just had with Sandy is just like, the number one thing when you call people, when you haven't heard from them in years, is you take responsibility for that. I said, I'm really sorry. I just came across your name in my address book and I realized that we haven't spoken in years and that's my fault. I'm really sorry for that. And then if you noticed, we just clicked. We just started going. And it was just like that never happened. And even if it's not your fault, doesn't matter. you have to take responsibility for it. Once you take responsibility for it, you have that conversation and you start moving forward and you start asking about them. Interested is interesting. So you have to be interested in them. Start asking them questions about how are you doing? How's the kids? How's the family? How's the dog? How's everything? You do that enough, they're gonna return it back to you and you're gonna have a conversation. Your job is to not sell anybody anything. Your job is to manage the relationship. That's it. That is it. If you want to coach with me and we're gonna sit down and I'm gonna say, how many people in your database? You're gonna say 100, you're gonna say 200. You need to get it up to 300. But I'm gonna say, how many of those people are you talking to? How many people are those people you're talking to are you keeping notes with? And you keep those notes and then you follow up with them every month with a phone call and then you drop marketing materials to them. If you send an email, you send a postcard, you send anything out without calling them, that's all called spam and they're not gonna pay attention to it. If you send everybody in your database an email, first of all, they either know you're in real estate and that you're in a database and that they're being marketed to. And if they don't, now they do, and then the second email, they're not gonna look at it. And so your open rates are typically 25 to 30%. Like, that's an amazing open rate. Is Tracy on here? I don't know if she
Yeah,
is. If she could chime in on what her open rate is, I think it's actually pretty good. I don't know if she's super busy. But if you want an open rate to be high, you start with a personal conversation first. You call them, you have a conversation with them, and then you send an email. You send a follow-up, hey, it was really great talking to you. I can't wait to talk to you next month. I can't wait to blah, blah, blah. Whatever you do, reference something from the conversation. That way they know you were paying attention. And then when you call them again, you reference something that you either saw on social media from them, that you referenced from the last phone call. You pull back that connection because what you're doing is that if you think that they've thought about you every day until that next phone call, you are confused. People think about you less than what they actually think that you think about. So what you do is that it's gonna go a month, and then what's gonna happen is that things have happened online with their family, things have happened since you talked to them, like somebody's going to school or something about their job. And then when you call them again, what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull them away from that 30 days ago and you're gonna pull them to the present. And they're gonna be, oh shit, this person remembered that. It's not gonna be an oh shit moment, but it's just like, it's gonna be, in their mind to where they're like, he remembered that. He knows that. And it's gonna be one of those things that like, he cares. They care. This person cares about me because you're referencing things that are important to them. You say, oh my God, I just saw you went to Yosemite and I saw all the things you did and the camping. Oh my God, how was that? Not, hey, do you rent or do you own? Do you want to buy or sell? Would you sell your house? If you can get the price you want, would you sell it? None of that. None of that. Because the initial conversation, because Sandy and I just had this conversation. I said, hey, can you meet for coffee? She said, yes. So I'm going to drop a note saying it was so amazing to reconnect with you. I cannot wait till Friday and I'll drop it in the mail. I don't care if she gets it on Saturday. Because we're going to have the meeting on Friday. We're going to have coffee. We're going to catch up. We're going to talk and blah, blah, blah. She's going to get a note on Saturday saying, hey, it was really great catching up with you. It's going to have my real estate information in there. But I'm not selling her anything. And so that's another touch. So now within 7 days, I touched her 3 times. 2 of which were real estate related. And then she goes into my database. And now she gets my newsletter. And now she gets all my follow-up stuff. But then I also have it set up to where I'm going to call her in 30 days from the first time that I called her, regardless if we met or not. And I'm going to reference something that we connected with. This is the mindset of most agents are like, I want to create this massive email campaign, this mass campaign, this mass. You got to get out of the mass idea of doing things at mass scale. That does not, that is going to hinder you and hurt you more than anything else. You have to think about, and this is the analogy that I use, is that everybody wants to take a big old fish net, go out into the ocean and throw this huge net out into the ocean, capture all this fish and bring it back. But what actually happens is you take this massive net and you throw it out into the ocean, the fish run, hits the water, and you pull it back and there's no fish. What you have to do is go back and watch the movie Castaway, Tom Hanks, to where he went out, he took a little spear, and he went and caught one fish at a time. He speared it. He looked at it, he followed it, he paid attention to it, And then as soon as he could, he speared it. And that's what you have to do with your database. If you're like, oh my God, that person, blah, 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 la, 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 they're not gonna call me back, or they don't like me, then delete them, go replace them. If that person's not gonna talk to you, not gonna call you back, or whatever, you have some negativity around, then they're probably not gonna use you anyway, move on. Stop putting how you feel, stop connecting how you feel to what you think somebody else feels. Their story of you is different than your story. You both have two different stories. If they're not calling you, call them and find out why. They don't like you, fine, kick them out. There's 8 billion people on the planet. And the thing is that I'm looking at everybody on here. Everybody on here. There's nobody on here that is special or different enough to where you shouldn't be able to do business. I can find somebody that is exactly like you, that is crushing it in real estate. Well, who do we have on here? We have Essence, we have Donati,
Darren,
Bianca, okay,
Mitra,
Mitra.
Fred.
So there's nobody on here that's like, Tracy, I'm gonna use Tracy as an example because I don't want to say this about everybody else. Tracy, there's something about you that, nobody's ever gonna buy a house or sell a house with you. Nobody's gonna do that. So I don't know if this is the profession for you. There's nobody on here that I can have that conversation with. And honestly, I've never met that person. So there's 8 billion people on this planet. Like, if someone looks like you, acts like you, sounds like you, in any way, shape, or form, if they've ever been successful, then you can too. And so the thing is that everybody on here has a unique attribute about them. And the key to your success is volume of conversations on a daily basis. If your business is not where you need it to be, you have to look at what your daily activities are like. What are you doing every day? So agents that don't work, that don't have a side hustle of a job, and if you do, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you do not have a side hustle and your full-time job is a real estate agent and you have 0 deals right now, my number one conversation with you, if you sit down with me, is what are you doing every day? Let me see your calendar.
Tracy, something to add?
What do you got, Tracy?
Hi there.
Hey there.
I just wanted to say, I think I had to take a call, but I think you're still on the same topic. Is
Yep.
you were saying in the beginning, people that feel like because they don't have any sales, that's their reason why their sphere isn't good, or that's why they don't have any sales because their sphere isn't good, so and so and so forth. You're still on that topic, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to say something. When I first started out in real estate, I had no sales, I had nothing. And I quickly learned it doesn't matter if you have sales. I'll tell you, there are people out there, there are agents out there that have sales, but they suck at building relationships with people, or they suck at caring and taking care of their people. If you care about people and build relationships, whether that's giving them information, giving them a vendor list, answering all their questions, being a resource for them, whether that's directly related to buying or selling their home, or giving them the name of a plumber because you have a list of people that you know, that's how you build a relationship and that's how you get them to trust you. I don't believe it has to do with how many sales that you have. It's about trust. There are plenty of agents out there that aren't trustworthy that have sales. And it's just a matter of being consistent and building that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. 100%.
Can I say, add one more thing?
Absolutely.
My very first listing I got from door knocking, and I was door knocking a recipe for apple pie because I thought it was a great recipe and I thought that's how I was going to get clients. That's how I started. Then I quickly realized, no, that's not how you build trust. That's not how you get them to see that you're a resource, because I'm not trying to start a bakery. I'm trying to be a real estate agent. So I started talking to people about if they knew how much their home was worth, giving them comps in the area. I just tried this recent restaurant. It's fantastic. It's just down the street from our neighborhood. Hey, do your kids go to the local school? Mine do too. Starting a Facebook group for the neighborhood, so on and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, I was like this person that would not leave people alone. I was a constant resource, but I did it in a friendly way so they knew that they could lean on me. And I finally got my first listing, my first deal ever from door knocking and constantly answering his questions that he had. It had nothing to do with how much business I had. That was it.
Absolutely. Thank you, I appreciate
welcome.
that. I mean, if you do not have anybody in your database and you're not talking to all of those people, whatever you're doing beyond that, you're creating a more difficult path for yourself. Does door knocking work? Absolutely. There's only a handful of people that I know of right now, this second, that are crushing it with farming or door knocking. Tracy's one of them. And that is like, there's nobody that's like dominating anything right now. The market is changing. And you know, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat this anymore because I'm seeing veteran agents struggle. Well, Tracy just had a showing of a property of an agent that's from Orange County that took a listing in Santa Clarita that totally botched the entire thing. She couldn't get into her own listing. She put in 2% concessions because it's the new thing that's out there. And then she's not really offering 2% concessions. And she messed it up. And so she had all these people who want to see her house. In reality, probably nobody will see her house because she's not offering concessions. And she didn't know how to handle the objection with that. So being experienced and knowing what you're doing, I think has actually a lower value today than actually creating and cultivating more relationships. That is really the secret and the key to real estate right now. You're going to, I feel this is my prognostication, is that you're going to see an exodus of agents from the company, from real estate, because they're going to struggle. I keep going back to this. It's like when you have agents going, oh, I didn't get a buyer agent commission or a buyer agent concession because my seller saw something on TikTok. Like, if you can't handle that objection, like, what do you do? You have to realize that real estate has been done a certain way for a very long period of time. It's now evolving. It's not changing, it's evolving. And at the end of the day, when you sell a property, the conversation with the seller is, how quickly do you want to sell the property? What's your motivation? So many people have said, how do I convince somebody to sell their house? You can't. What's the motivation? I was really good at calling expired listings. I hate it with the white hot passion of 1,000 suns. I hate it. It's terrible. I hate doing it, but I was really good at it. I'll give you how the conversation would go when I would call expired listings. I would go, okay, so Sandy, you again.
Okay.
So this is the thing. You had a house that was for sale.
Yeah.
It expired with the agent that it was with. You can make up whatever reason it expired for or whatever. If you're mean to me, I'm gonna hang up. If
Okay.
you have to want to sell your house. You did before, it was expired, so you
Yeah.
have to actually want to sell your house. So we'll see if I can make an appointment with you. That's the only criteria that you have. You ready?
Yeah.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Sandy?
Yes.
Hi, Sandy, this is Frank. I'm a real estate agent. I wanted to see if that house at 1237 Reseda Boulevard was still for sale.
I would love to sell my house. We had it up. We were having issues with our real estate agent. We weren't able to sell it. So I don't know whether it's better for me to just keep it or I don't know what to do. It was just so frustrating. I don't know what to do
Oh
anymore.
my gosh, it seemed like it's a good price. Like, what happened?
It just seemed like the real estate agent that we had never responded to phone calls, didn't want to host any open houses. For a lot of them, I was there or I would be there for showings and my agent wouldn't be there.
So it's like you were for sale by owner.
I would, yeah, is that a thing?
That is a thing.
Oh, okay,
I
good.
don't think you should do that, but yeah.
No, it was just really frustrating. So then, we had a contract and then that lapsed and I don't know. So we're not sure. We're thinking at this point, should we just keep it? I don't know what to do anymore. I don't even think we can sell it at this point.
Well, I'm really sorry that happened. Let me ask you a question though, like, what's the dream? Like, if you would have gotten the price you wanted and your house sold, like, where were you moving to? Where were you headed to?
Spain,
Spain?
yeah,
What's in Spain?
good music,
Yes.
wine,
Yes.
sangria.
Oh my God.
I'm ready to, a little bit. My kids moved out, so my eldest is in college. So we were looking to sell, but if, I mean, if we have to
Is this
stay
like
here.
an eat, pray, love type of thing going on here? Cause you know, it kind of sounds like that.
Kind of, I think we're just
Okay.
ready for a different, lifestyle, but
I love
it seems like we're gonna have to wait a couple of years, because we just couldn't get this house sold.
Okay, so you're willing to wait a couple of years if it doesn't sell right now, but I mean, if you could get your house sold, like say in the next, 45 to, 90 days, would you still want that dream of moving to Spain? Is that something you really want to do right now if you could get it sold?
I mean, in a perfect world, yes,
Right.
of course, but I mean, we've tried and I don't think it's possible.
Okay, no, you know what, and I totally understand why you would not think it's possible. But let me ask you this question, if I can show you something that I do that other agents don't do, that your agent probably didn't do, that could probably get your house sold in the next, 45 to 90 days. Is that something that you'd be interested in, taking a look at if, if I were to sit down with you for 15 minutes? I think I'm gonna be in your neighborhood on Friday. Do you have some time on Friday, at about 4 o'clock?
You know what, I'm a little bit hesitant, but
Mhm.
are you a newer agent? Do you know our area? There's just a lot
I
here.
absolutely know your area quite a bit, and when I meet with you, I can give you all of my stats, all of my information. I'll show you everything about me, and then I'll show you, what I do that's a little bit different than what everybody else does to see, if my plan is something that you think could help get your house sold. I think it can, but you could be the judge of that. No harm, no foul. You don't have to sign anything, but I would love to sit down and show you, what I do to actually get home sold.
I mean, it was really hard and, it was over a 3-month process, but if you think, I don't know, I'm so hesitant, but
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this question. Did you get any offers on the property?
no,
Okay, how many people saw your property when it was on the market?
probably less than 5. It
Less
was,
than
it was
5.
awful. He just wouldn't host any open houses or
Okay.
wouldn't show up.
Well, let me ask you this question. If I could get you another 5 showings, but every time you had 5 showings, every one of those showings, you had an offer, would that interest you to meet with me on Friday at 4 o'clock?
I think if you're up to the task, I'm
Okay.
open to listen.
Sounds good. So now, let me break down just what happened. Is that I did not focus on the sale of the house in the beginning at all. I focused on her and the problem. And I asked, so if you notice, I said, my name is Frank, I'm a real estate agent, and I was calling about the property. I did not say my last name because they don't care. I did not say my company because they don't care. Your job when you're calling an expired listing is to get an appointment as quickly as possible because you have 30 seconds to capture their attention. So I asked, is that property still for sale? Now, 10% of the time you're gonna get no, click. That's fine. They go on a follow-up. You don't never call them again, they go on a follow-up. But now you say, is that still for, they're gonna say no, and they're gonna give you the reason why. And that's not what she said, like, she made that up, I didn't tell her what to say, like, that happens, like, the agent ghosts, the agent doesn't do their job, the agent, it could be 10 million different things, but it doesn't matter. I'm leading her down a path. The path after that is, oh my God, if you would, and I agreed with her, I'm like, hey, it seemed like a great price, I'm really shocked it didn't sell. And if you notice the inflection in my voice, the inflection in my voice is the caring part. Oh my God, are you serious? Like when they hear that, they're like, he's really listening. That's really, I get bought into their situation because I am appalled that their house did not sell. This is their most expensive thing, and the fact that another agent did not take it seriously pisses me off. I'm in the boat with them. I'm in the angry boat together. We're rowing, right? So now they have an advocate. You see what I did there? I became an advocate for them. So now, what's the next step? Motivation. Where are they going? Like, what's the dream? I phrase it that specific way. What's the dream? If you would have sold your house and got the price you wanted, what's the dream? Where were you headed to? Spain. Immediately, 1,000 things went in my head. Our team just sold a couple houses in Spain, like all these different things. And I'm thinking, what am I going to use? And then I'm an empty nester. I have no kids, blah, blah, blah. Immediately, Julia Roberts, Eat, Pray, Love, like came into mind, and like, don't judge me about chick flicks. And I was just like, oh my God, is this an Eat, Pray, Love? So now I'm connecting. She has a dream. I'm connecting with her. She's like, oh my God, he knows about Eat, Pray, Love. That's crazy, right? So now I asked the really important question. Okay, so is the dream of going to Spain gone? It's not gone. Okay, great. Now, my next thing is to get the appointment. So now I'm gonna say, now this is really easy to do in her situation where the agent just literally did nothing. Is that I basically said, if I can show you something that I do that nobody else does, would you be open to sitting down with me? So she pushed me a little bit further, and then so I extracted something that I do. As I said, how many people saw your property? 5. How many offers did you get? None. Okay, great. If I could get you an offer for every time somebody saw the property, so you got 5 showings and you got 5 offers, would you be interested in seeing how that works? First of all, nobody's gonna say no to that. And I'll tell you right now how I do that. It's really not that difficult. So at the end of the day, if somebody shows your property or sees a property, the price worked for them, the location worked for them. If they went there and they did not put in an offer, then something else was wrong. It was probably something with the house, which can be usually fixed with price. But if they show up, I'll call the agent back and say, hey, I just wanted to call you back and get some feedback on the showing. And what I do is I say, my seller's willing to make your buyer an offer. So the seller makes the buyer an offer. It's totally backwards from anything you've learned in real estate. But what I did find out is this actually gets the real feedback for the property. And I tell the seller, I said, listen, I'm gonna make an offer to the buyer because they saw your house. They liked everything they saw online until they got here. So like if $10,000 or $20,000 or something can fix that, like, would you be open to doing that? But at the end of the day, I make an offer to them. So there's an offer on your property every time a buyer sees your property. You're never gonna find another agent that does it. So that makes me unique and special. In addition to like the fact I'm gonna do open houses, I'm gonna do this on social media. You can probably find 10 or 20 different things that agent didn't do that you can do to set yourself apart. That's what you do that. And then I just say, great, I would love to show you. I'm gonna be in your neighborhood at 4 o'clock on Friday. Is that a good time for you? No, that's not a good time for me. How about Monday at 2? Fine, fantastic. Monday at 2, I'm available. And that's all you do. That's basically the breakdown of an expired listing call. Now, that shit is hard. Like that shit is hard. No joke. I hate it. I don't like to do it. I'm good at it. It's painful because I will do 100 of those and maybe get one appointment. Maybe. It takes 10 of those appointments to get an actual listing, and then it takes 5 of those listings to get an actual sale, because it doesn't expire because the house is bad. It expires because the price is usually inflated or the seller is a problem. There's really not a lot of other reasons beyond that. It's usually the seller is obnoxious and doesn't know and thinks they know more than the agent. So it's a ton of work. But in reality, all you have to do is really go talk to the people you already know. Because all those people that know you, they like you, they trust you. Everybody's trust is going to be different, but people buy and sell when things happen, right? Sandy's expired listing thing, she's an empty nester, right? So people are going to get a job, lose a job, have a baby, get married, get divorced, blah, blah, blah. There's like a handful of different reasons why people buy or sell. So when you call your people and you have these conversations that I'm telling you to have, the conversation that I had with Sandy, you have these conversations. Your job and your only job is to figure out, where's everybody at in life? Where are they at? How are they doing? Because this is what happens on every phone call. 99% of the phone calls you make, if you say, Frank, this is what I'm gonna do everything you said, that's great. This is what's gonna happen, just so you're prepared. You're gonna call everybody. They're gonna be fine. Their job's fine. Their kids are fine. Everybody's fine. 10% will wanna meet for coffee. No sales. You're gonna get no leads. But then you're gonna send them a note, you're gonna send them an email, you're gonna call them again, and you're gonna keep calling them, and keep talking to them, keep cultivating and watering the relationship and putting soil around the relationship. So everybody you call, no deals. But then when you aggressively follow up with them in a month, things aren't gonna be fine. Somebody's gonna cheat on somebody and they're gonna wanna get a divorce, or somebody's gonna pass away, or somebody's gonna lose their job. Like, it's going to happen. It always happens. 6% of everybody is gonna buy, sell, or refer business out. And somebody that you're keeping in contact with is gonna know somebody that's gonna lose their job, somebody's gonna pass away, and somebody's gonna need a divorce. Like, that's the key. And the other secret sauce to this entire thing that I'm telling you to do, 99% of all real estate agents don't do this. And I'm gonna pull the stat, and I'll find the stat for you somewhere. That's why you find 90% of the agents in the business doing 0 deals. I think 20% of this office is actually doing deals right now. The other 80%, honestly, I don't know what you're doing. Don't know what you're doing. But that's what this coaching is about, is to help you, guide you onto where you need to go. If you're like, Frank, I'm doing all of this stuff, but it's not working. So there's something you're probably not doing, and we can have a conversation about that. But the way you solve that is volume. You have to talk to more people. If you're talking to 5 to 10 people today and that's not working for you, and your financial or your business situation is being compromised because you need business, then you need to up the level of conversations that you're having with people. That solves the business. It's like recruiting. Recruiting solves all problems, because if I can get 100 agents in this office, somebody's going to do a deal. And if you're talking to 10 people right now and that's not working, you talk to 100 people, somebody is going to know somebody that wants to buy or sell. There's only 4 ways to get business in real estate. We're gonna end it at this. 4 ways to get business in real estate. There's warm calls, which is sphere of influence of people you know. There's cold calls, calling people that you don't know. There's content, posting content and putting out content, which is, there's 1,000 different ways to do that. There's social media, there's podcasts, there's blogging, there's tons of different things you can do. And then there's paid. You can go pay somebody for leads, which is the last place I think you should ever go unless you were a ninja at that. If you're not a ninja at that, you're gonna, and if you go to Facebook groups, you'll find people on there all the time. Oh, I just spent $1,500 and I got 0 leads. It's not that you got 0 leads, it's you didn't know how to talk to those people. I have spent thousands upon thousands of dollars of online leads. It took a year for us to get one of our best clients from an online lead. Most people don't last a year because most people can't pay $1,000 to $5,000 a month. I think we were paying $3,000 a month for online leads. We have a whole database of online leads, and it started to slowly dwindle over time. And like Tracy just followed up with somebody that is actually probably trying to sell her townhome right now from an online lead. But it's literally, and she can chime in, like years, 3 years or more, I think. This person's been in our database and we've been following up. Constant. So those are the 4 places. Why you would not start with warm and sphere of influence and people you know, I don't know why you would not do that. I would love, if you have a reason why you would not do that, I would love to hear that reason. Because honestly, and this is gonna hurt, and this is not gonna sound a little harsh, but if you're not starting with warm and sphere of influence, that's just an excuse. It's an excuse. You're using that as an excuse to go do something else because you're afraid to talk to those people for some reason. So you have to get past that. And you have to figure out what your goal is and what you want to do. And you have to make that goal priority every single day. Any questions?
Yeah, so Darren wanted to know more about like boosting your social media.
You have to, so social media presence, there's a whole class that I do on this, but social media presence should be 80-20. 80% personal, 20% business. Think of social media like you're watching a TV show. You're not gonna watch a TV show and you're not gonna watch a 60-minute Ozempic TV show. Nobody's gonna do that. But you're gonna watch a friend's TV show, but like 15 minutes are Ozempic commercials because you're gonna have to power through the commercials because you want the content of the TV show. Social media is the same way. So it's volume, and you have to be entertaining or educational in everything you do. But people want to see who you are and what you do. That's how people will connect with you on social media. That's how the Kardashians became famous. People wanted to peek into these people's lives because they thought they were fascinating. And now they literally actually built billion-dollar brands off of the TV show where people were just voyeuristic. That's it. So people, if you're like, oh, my life's boring, my life's not interesting. Well, you're not watching your own TV show, right? You have to post on there. You have something that somebody else likes. And when your clients go search for you, what are they going to see? If they see nothing, then that's what they're going to see. And when they type in their competition, they're probably going to see more for your competition. But did you go to a restaurant this week? Did you go to the beach? What did you do that's fun? You work out? Like, what are all these things that you do that you can put on social media to make people connect with you? to say, oh my God, that's cool, I do that. Or I like that because he does that, or he read those books, or I have a dog too, or whatever. 80% should be personal and then 20% business, just to sprinkle in what you do so everybody knows. So, but it comes down to volume. And I do not post enough. If you look at my posting, I probably post somewhere between 5 and 10 things a day based on everything that I do. That's not enough. I know it seems excessive. You should be posting 10 to 20 pieces of content a day. It should feel ridiculous to you. But at the end of the day, you don't know when everybody's looking at social media. And so your stuff has to be out there. And it should be professional. And it should not be biased, like political stuff, like religious stuff, you know, how you hate this or like that, blah, blah, blah. You can be liking is good, like the hating and I don't like this or blah, like leave that stuff off of there. You're trying to promote the business. Hopefully that helped. Any other questions?
I have one comment.
Yes.
What I liked about when we were going back and forth was that at no point did you say anything negative about the other agent.
Yeah.
You made a comment about, you focused more on your value proposition. And I feel like that's something where you have to focus on what you can bring to the table.
Yeah.
Because you told me exactly, like, I can go over this, I can go over that. But yeah, I thought it was good that you didn't say anything negative about the others.
Yeah, and realistically is that you never want to say negative things about another agent or another person because you don't know anything about that person. That could have been their sister that they hired to sell their house. That happens a lot. They'll hire a family member or a friend and you're like, oh, that guy's trash. Like, oh my God, that guy's stupid. If you say anything about the other agent, I want to say that this has happened. Like somebody's like, oh yeah, that's my brother. Or like that actually happened to somebody. It didn't happen to me. But it's like, if you do that, like you're backing yourself in the corner because now there is no value to negativity on this planet. Like that's just my personal feeling. Negativity has no place. No place. There's no reason to not be positive about everything. And it's just like, I would even say to somebody that, you know, they're like, oh, this person, blah, 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 and this person sucks, and this person, I'd be like, good, that's good. Because now we have a chance to work together. You know, you just have to spin it and look at it differently. Everything in life, every negativity is good. Because it gives you an opportunity to do something different, or to see something different, or to be something different. It's all good, there's nothing bad. All right, guys. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get everybody in your database. It sucks. It's not easy to do. I hate doing it. I hate that kind of stuff. But you get it in your database and you start calling people one by one by one by one. Because if you've got one person and you got a $10,000 commission in the next 30 days, some people that changes your life. And then if you can do that every couple of months, get a 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Like $20 an hour on a full-time job is like 40 grand a year. If that changes your life. Because that's like 3 deals in this office. So you can do it. If you're finding challenges, if you're finding struggles or constraints, or you need help beyond what I'm talking about here, reach out to me. We can do a Zoom. You can come into the office and we can meet and we can figure something out. But it's really not super difficult. It's simple. It's just not easy.
We have something from Essence.
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
there.
I wanted to add to you and Sandy's role playing, and how I agree, the volume of conversations on a daily basis. When Sandy was saying, okay, well, I don't know what my partner and I can afford. If you are constantly networking and having conversations, you go to events, you meet different lenders, you meet people, you're able to assist your clients better. So like you were saying before, you have to have these conversations, get out there, and the more resources you have, the better you can service your clients.
Yeah. I will say in that conversation with Sandy, she's like, you know, let's start with what we can afford. The natural behavior of a real estate agent where they would jumped on that. They would say, let me have you talk to my lender, let me la 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 la. And you noticed I didn't do that because that wasn't, when I called her, she wasn't looking to do anything. She was thinking about it. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to basically cultivate the relationship more by meeting with her and having more of a conversation with her, because this is the secret to what happened there. And I evaluated this very quickly. And this is what happens with time in the business, is that it's not her. It's her and her fiance. It's both of them. So I need to make sure that her and I are really good. And then we bring in the fiance into the relationship, and then we have the financial conversation. You don't just do that. Like, there's too often somebody will put the little carrot out there, oh, let's start here, or I don't know what I can afford, and you just jump on it. Especially if I haven't talked to this person in years. I'm not jumping on that right now. I'm saying, no, no, no. I want her to know that that's not the reason we're talking. I want our relationship to be number one, and then everything else is number two. So I think that's it. I'm glad you brought that up, Essence, because I probably missed explaining that to you, but dollars and deals and leads should be secondary to the entire relationship process in real estate. That's where I would say almost 100% of the real estate agents right now are dropping the ball. 100%. Like, I could probably find deals that people are losing based on the fact that they're going after the money and the deals and the leads, and they're not worried about the relationship. If you ever find somebody that ghosts you, that doesn't call you back or whatever, in a process like that, it's because that they feel that you put the business over the relationship, and that's what you don't want to have happen. So. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here. I hope to see everybody at the team meeting on Wednesday, 10 a.m. It's gonna be fun. And we're gonna have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.